Okay, so this week we are going over balanced and unbalanced forces. Now, we haven't really gotten a chance to get into what a force is. So, a force is either a push or a pull, and there are different types of forces. You can have either a contact force where two objects are colliding together, or you can have a non contact force where there is no physical contact between the two objects. Now, the different types of contact forces, we have frictional force, which is when two things rub together. Say you're moving a chair across the floor, or you're ice skating or anything like that. Air resistance, you normally see that with wind, or also if airplanes fly, you have air resistance pushing against the motion of the airplane. You have spring force, tension, with two things are pulling apart from each other, applied force, and normal force. Now, you also have your non contact forces, which are gravitational force. That's the force pulling us to the center of the earth. You have magnetic force when you're putting two magnets together, and electrical force. Now, forces can either be balanced, which is when um, all of the forces on the object are equal and they're in opposite directions. They are balanced. All right, so if you see in the example right here, we have a physics book sitting on top of a table. Now, gravity is going to pull the object down towards the center of the earth. And you also have your normal force acting on the object, which is the table pushing up with the same amount of force. So the two forces are in opposite directions. You have one force going up and one force going down, and they are both given a force of 20 newtons. So because of this, the forces are balanced. Your second type of force is your unbalanced force. Now, this is when you have either one or more forces that are acting on the object and they're not equal. All right, they can be going in the same direction or they can be going in opposite directions. So in this case, we have the two forces here that we had in our first example, the 20 newtons, one going up and one going down. And you also have another force, which is friction, pushing the object towards the left with 5 newtons. So because of this force right here, the object is now unbalanced. Now, what I want you guys to do is to tell me whether or not the force is balanced or unbalanced, okay? Now, here I have an object. I have 12 newtons going to the right, and I have 12 newtons going to the left. So is this force balanced or unbalanced? If you guessed balanced, you are absolutely correct. All right, so we have a force going in opposite directions, and they are at the same magnitude, which is 12 newtons. All right, 12 newtons to the left and 12 newtons to the right, and because of this, they are balanced. Now, what about this one here? We have one force going to the left at 50 newtons, and another force going to the left also at 50 newtons. If you guessed unbalanced, you are correct. All right, now even though they have the same amount of force, you have 50 newtons over here and 50 newtons over here, because they are not in opposite directions, they are considered to be unbalanced because they are acting in the same direction. So in a sense, you have 100 newtons going to the left with this object here. Now, our last example, is the force balanced or unbalanced? If you guessed balanced, you are absolutely correct. Now, we do have different magnitudes of forces here, but if you look at their opposite forces, so we have 20 newtons going up and 20 newtons going down, those two are balanced. And if you look over here, we have 36 newtons to the left and 36 newtons to the right. Because the opposite forces are the same and in opposite directions, this is considered to be an unbalanced force. Now, after this, what I want you guys to do is to complete the exit ticket. You can find that on Google Classroom. You will complete that and you're basically done with this assignment.